Pawan, please tell us the Hindi of porcupine. If it is not Shutarmurg. Shutarmurg is ostrich.
I don't know.
I to asked you.
I have
no idea.
Yeah, I think amongst the four present here, I'd be the more qualified to talk about Hindi. Maybe Pawan.
No, even I had Hindi till 12th. I had Hindi till 12th.
Sahi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sahi. I didn't know that. Porcupine is Sahi. Shutarmurg is ostrich. So next time when I have to use ostrich, the head in the sand, I will use Shutarmurg.
Yeah.
Don't be a ostrich ki jagah, I will say don't be a Shutarmurg. So what's the issue this Monday morning? It's my first dugout after 4 weeks. I just don't feel like working because still in...
Are we not counting the Zoom calls?
Not counting that. Okay. Like in person. And in those Zoom calls, it was very tough because a lot of times I couldn't see you guys or even hear you. So it was tough to be part of conversations. I could do a monologue as in like give you information as to what has happened. But it was tough being part of debates because also maybe because I was outdoor, there's like ambience noise, so all the time I can't hear. And mostly I could not see you guys. That's also tough to relate to.
There was some issue with our input wire of this camera to the Zoom. So we had to fix that.
So I could see, initially I could see, but after duration. And when you can see, there's somehow, like when you are trying to make conversation to a phone, if you can see the people, it's better because it feels like you're talking to someone. Imagine it's a blank screen, I only see one I written. It used to be like thing with one alphabet I. So it's like I'm talking to that alphabet. It's just that you can't connect. It just is a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice to be in a comfortable AC studio rather than the...
Hurricane? Sure.
Hurricane though was not that bad. Hurricane, by the way, too much was being made of it. Eventually it was an anticlimax. There's more winds I've felt in the dust storm that we get sometime in Delhi NCR, which ends up destroying a lot of trees, those...
even some of the roads, it'll end up causing damage.
Roads and windows breaking. Sometime in my house I can see the window panes shake. But so the intensity of the wind here was more than the hurricane, but that's primarily because I did not feel the hurricane. The hurricane was supposed to hit Barbados, it just went from the side. It did not really hit us. But see, that same hurricane became category 5 and went over Jamaica.
And
see
it
the
caused
damage.
destruction in Jamaica. It was bad.
So if that hurricane would have come over Barbados, then it would have been crazy. It just went from the side, like kissing the island. So you only felt the winds around it, not really the hurricane, man. But the heat, the better is this nice, cool, air conditioned, not tan. See, like looking at Shashwat, I can make out. He did not go out even Monday for any shoot. Sat here, zero tan.
No, I went on the final also, and I went for the coverage of the team also.
He did a good job on the day the team arrived.
Yeah.
Well, that day you were lucky, there was not much heat.
Yeah, but there was rain.
That makes it better. You're not getting
but it was raining continuously.
Delhi's weather has been good from the past few days.
Good weather.
And while on the way, we even had an accident and we had to reach on time, so a lot of things happened that day.
What is it with him and accidents?
And on Terminal 3.
Why?
Terrible. By the way, good cricket by the Indian young team. Imagine the seesaw that they've seen in 2 days. Even our, big cricket fan, the biggest cricket fan in the parliament, Shashi Tharoor. Is he the biggest? There'll be few more.
But I know
he's up there because, quite frankly, he's not a casual fan. He sometimes writes about it and he follows it religiously. And if you follow his social media timeline, he keeps tweeting articles as well.
A
lot of, which means that he continuously keeps reading about cricket. So he's not a casual fan. He reads a lot. So even he had to do a flip flop. First day he said, "What is the BCCI doing?" Shashi Tharoor, what kind of a team have you sent? You're taking BCCI is taking cricket too lightly.
And even he's a big fan of Sanju Samson.
No surprise.
A lot about him.
No, that is because he vote bank.
Statements.
Yeah.
No, vote bank also.
Yeah.
More than statements, you have to. But his primary profession is that being a politician.
Yeah.
That's not a profession, but yeah.
Sort of.
I think at one point he used to also be the president of the Kerala Cricket Association. I think.
Was he?
I think it's possible. His love for the game runs deep. Let's put it that way.
And another reason for supporting Sanju Samson then.
Yes.
No, but he was also caught up in a controversy, right, during the IPL, where when the Kochi Tusker was there,
Yeah.
that time his ex-wife, wife at the time, Sunanda Pushkar, had sweat equity in the team, and then became a big controversy because conflict of interest and MP's wife and having some stake in, though she was a independent entrepreneur as well, so she could independent of her husband still have equity in a company, but because you're married to a politician it became a larger issue. So yeah, he's had skin in the game as far as cricket is concerned.
But when it comes to Kochi Tuskers Kerala, I think all the players, they pretty much still tweet about we still haven't got our money back.
Yeah, they haven't. And they are upset because they encashed they're saying the BCCI can give us because they encashed that guarantee.
The bond.
Yeah. So you got a lot of money for that. Maybe BCCI could have used that money to give it back to the players, but it's not gone. BCCI is claiming that this is our money based on contract. We are supposed to take it. And then they didn't. So basically Shashi Tharoor, as I said, it's not, the intention is not to point Shashi Tharoor out or, just talk about him per se making that mistake. I think he is all of us at the moment. He is just because he's a public figure, he's representing all of us because 90% of the fans have also flip-flop after that disastrous result in that first game to now the result. And it's not even like, minor difference. It's chalk and cheese to what they did in the first game to what they did in the second game. So, but then that is the nature of cricket. Nothing succeeds like success, and we keep changing statements on that. So I think whole of India is Shashi Tharoor at the moment, where at one time we were like, what is the future of Indian cricket? This is the future. What you're going to do after Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma are gone, Jadeja, these guys, I don't think the next generation is ready. I don't think we can see IPL form and consider that as international form. See, the difference is clear. But then, not even 24 hours later, 18 hours later, boom.
Full 180.
Full 180 degree. So, but that's how the result has been. But that has now taken Indian cricket into a bit of a dilemma. It is a tough situation where now you may have a problem of plenty because you will soon have to decide who your openers are going to be.
You already have a problem of plenty. Look at the team that is playing Zimbabwe. Rituraj Gaikwad is coming in at 3. Asai Sudarshan, someone who can also be an opener, is coming in at 4. Didn't bad in his debut game. He didn't need to. So you already have a problem of plenty. This tour itself, you've got 4 openers in the squad.
Even Sai Sudarshan if you count 5.
Yeah, so 5. Before that you had 4. So a lot of...
It's a good thing or a bad thing?
Good headache? No. We don't do good headaches.
There is nothing called good headache.
No. Nothing called good headache.
I feel
it's only for the selectors.
It's not even for them. No such thing as a good headache.
Just to say it out. If you want.
But even before this tour, I still feel this fact that this tour is more about giving opportunities to the players who have done well in the IPL. I don't think this is anywhere close to the roadmap which we are going to be seeing moving ahead as per 2026 World Cup is concerned, because many players would be returning. Like it's just hard. It's just Virat, Rohit and Jadeja who won't be there. Others would be there. So only very few players from this side can actually make it to the the main roadmap which we are going to see for 2026. And for that you need to have an outstanding season, outstanding tour. You need to break the door down. Somebody like an Abhishek Sharma, if he goes on to get another 100 in this tour and 150, then he would be in the contention, and then he could be in that squad moving ahead also. But other than that, most of these players, I don't think we are going to see them moving ahead. And that's why even when we were talking about the fact about Gill's captaincy, even I feel even that is not, it's not a blueprint of anything to see in ahead, because here I think he's been given the captaincy because of the reason that he's a senior player here. So yeah.
No, but which is okay. We don't know what the future roadmap is. But even today, I mean, and if you just restrict it to your openers, you still have a decision to make. Na?
Yeah.
So while Rohit and Virat are not going to be there and Jadeja, those three, and you're right that everyone else is going to be there. So I'm not saying that the team is going to change completely. But your opening slot though is changing completely. It's a 100% change.
100%.
And now, right now, there is no way that you can say that X and Y are your, two openers. And I think every game that you're playing is going to decide who your openers are. You can count the contenders on your fingertips. Let's go one by one.
Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, obviously, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Abhishek Sharma, Sai Sudarshan.
I mean, Sai Sudarshan still is an outside chance because I think let's go with the first 4 because these guys were named first and foremost. I think definitely ahead of in the pecking order. Abhishek, I think, banged the doors down thanks to this year's IPL really, where he was just going all guns blazing.
Yeah.
Even then, 4 in an ideal tournament squad, you'd have 3 openers.
True.
So you're whittling down one from here.
But then Nikhil, we are I think missing out on one more name. Who opened for India in a couple of T20s before he suffered that unfortunate car accident? Rishabh Pant.
I don't think he's
you're not
getting
missing
there.
one name. You go with one name. I'm going to give you 4 more names.
Rishabh Pant, 6th one. Ishan Kishan.
Yes, Ishan
7.
Kishan is 7.
Sanju Samson.
Sanju Samson is 8.
is
So
8.
you're not missing out on one. You're missing out on many names. That's why I wanted to know from you guys who are the contenders. You got 4, and I think if let's say I'm a Sanju Samson, and till now I've not been getting a chance because there have been players who have been ahead of me.
Yeah.
But I am a top order batter. I have opened. I have batted at number 3 consistently in the IPL, and I've done well. And that's where I bat. So if you are a Sanju Samson, you're going to be the guy who will say, consider me. Why not me? And I think Ishan Kishan as well. We've just very conveniently forgotten about him. But Ishan Kishan was punished for something that he did, and I don't think there is any debate about what he did and should he have been punished or not. I think we were all in agreement when we discussed for the longest time that there should be some sort of punishment meted out for that behavior. He's done it, but that cannot continue forever, na? That has to end someday, and I probably has ended now. See, again in Ishan Kishan's case, see how much he is regretted. If that thing hadn't happened, who knows, he could have been part of this T20 World Cup team. Today he would be sitting and ruining the fact that, okay, maybe he wouldn't have got a chance in the 11. Could very well have been part of the 15 because he was one of the front runners. He could have been one of those 15 who came in that flight wearing the medal. Very well could have been.
He could have also been a part of the test side that beat England 4-1.
Sure.
Remember, Dhruv Jurel was only a last minute call up. Who was called up because you really didn't have any other options at that point in time. It was Kishan who was being seen as the first choice well before that. He played in the series against West Indies when they toured over there. He was the front runner, all things said and done, until whatever happened.
South Africa.
Yeah, until South Africa.
Then he made a call to not be a part of the team, to have that break so that he can recoup and come back. And Rahul Dravid, if I clearly remember, had made a comment in media that he has to play some cricket to be back in the Indian team. So maybe he himself has made a decision and he has to live with it.
Actually, it's interesting you mentioned that because he did mention that, he mentioned the reason why. He's saying that, listen, I wanted to take a break from cricket in general.
Yeah.
So if you're not playing international cricket one side, why would I then go back and play domestic cricket? He's saying that he actually says, he adds, he's saying, such so मैं internationally रहता. I wouldn't have taken a break only.
No, but see, again, he has himself to blame.
Oh,
see,
agreed.
He made a mistake. Okay, fine. Let's say. But by the way, I just want to say, and it's not that told you so. Remember when that entire thing happened? I think we were one of the platforms that really stuck by Ishan Kishan. Not in terms of what he did. I think we all pointed, but stuck by him saying that the team did push him into that corner. And I think the team was very unfair to him. This is something that we maintained where we said, listen, this is a poor guy who's doing well. Even though I think it was, who is this? Shashwat, who was happy with him, I forget, who did not want Ishan Kishan at that time. Remember who?
Was it you or was it me? May have been me.
No.
No, but I remember.
Because you remember when we used to have that debate, at least I was of the opinion that Ishan Kishan, that you were unfair to him, that why was he the one who was always with this kid?
the fall guy.
Yeah, and he was like, no, he's not good enough to be there.
No, point wasn't, my point more of that was that the way he actually left and however the communication was, now also he's coming out and saying that if I wanted a break and then I did not, then if that was the case, that if you were on a break, there was a better way to, communicate that and take that break. I know the team wasn't given that break to him at that point, but being a youngster within a team where there are so many established players already, not everything cannot be fair for you. And then, just going away and not...
But they were more unfair to him than to anybody. See, for everyone else, you had the set standard that either you are going to... See, which is what I said, he found himself in that middle child syndrome, right? Which is that, the elder one gets few privileges because he's the eldest, the younger one gets because he's the youngest, the middle guy, the fall guy gets blamed for everything. Same thing happened with him, because for youngsters you were careful on situation where you took a young team. South Africa, I remember where he came. You were saying, nay, we want to try youngsters, we want to see how well they do that. So he was not getting a chance. Other tours he used to go, he used to not get a chance because no, there are seniors ahead of you. And so you have to wait for your turn. So in that sense, the Indian team also wasn't very kind to him. He was the one, dare I say that, who was probably the only one who found himself in that position.
In fact, I remember also, two instances for this. One, when he scored that double 100 against, I think it was Bangladesh. Got dropped right after that from the ODI side.
Because Gill and Rohit.
Exactly.
But then if he wouldn't have gotten that opportunity, we here would have compared the same thing with the previous management of Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli, that there is continuous stopping and changing. I think getting Gill back at that time was absolutely fair, even though he got it 200, but he was still a makeshift arrangement for Shubman Gill.
Imagine, he's the only guy who found himself in this situation.
So why did that change? Okay, fine. So you that is the logic, that you went with the most established guy, or the one who had been playing, the incumbent, and so he had to then go out and wait. Fine. But then in South Africa, you didn't do that. He was the incumbent, then he should have played. No. Now we already know how good you are, but you said, let us see how the youngsters are. Then if you are Ishan Kishan, you're also going to feel like that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I'm not saying that the BCCI was right with Ishan Kishan, but according to me, how Ishan Kishan handled the things could have been better. See, even in those senses, even something like that happened with the Rinku Singh also. Something very similar.
No, it's not that. See, in Rinku's, by the way, firstly, Rinku though has just come into the team. Ishan Kishan has been with the team for so long, and by the way, he was one of those guys who were traveling for every tour. Imagine, he's been away from his family every tour he was going. Certain tours he used to go, not play because seniors are there. Other tours he would go when seniors were extra, thinking now I'll get a chance. He's on tours but still not getting a chance, and is having to sit out because now you're trying youngster. For a person also like him, who was leaving his family, traveling and traveling internationally, his stuff, everyone takes a break. Your senior players, after a few tough tours, used to say, "Now we need a break. This series we're going to skip. We need family time. We need." That's not the thing that he got. Youngsters were not going on that tour so they could spend family time. He was the only guy who was doing that. So I don't think anybody else had it as bad as Ishan.
Because see, that's the thing. He would get dropped for a Shubman Gill or a KL Rahul.
Yes.
But he'd also get dropped for a Yashasvi Jaiswal. So it's a case of where do I fit?
Or even a Rituraj Gaikwad.
Basically, I'll just sum it up in a way that I think is pretty much, I would say, more expressive. See, Ishan Kishan was earlier given the Rohit Sharma treatment in 2023. He was just being used in pretty much all of the batting positions.
Yeah, because he batted middle order also.
Yeah, he batted in the middle
order. But where did Rohit Sharma get that treatment?
In his early career, he was being rotated around a lot. That was the problem.
But he was still a middle order bat. He never got a chance to open.
He did get a chance to open in a few matches, wherein there were injuries.
But I'm just saying that is rare. He was always considered a middle order bat, Rohit Sharma.
Until much later.
Until you took a decision one day he has to be an opener, then he maintained an opener. In Ishan Kishan's case, he is, on the day I wake up, I'll see where he can fit in.
Yeah, and the irony is that he is more fitted or more fixed as an opener than Rohit ever was.
See, the moment when Ishan Kishan decided to take a break from international cricket was really the moment wherein he lost the chance of establishing his place, because Rishabh Pant was not there. Dhruv Jurel he may not have come in had Ishan Kishan been available for that tour.
Correct.
So that is where I think it all just messed up for him.
Yeah, his timing I think was a little off because
There
again
were a lot of things that happened. Like he batted in the top order when there was an injury, then
Middle order
in the Asia Cup before the World Cup.
also you have to remember the South Africa tour was the one where he took the break, right? Who's the incumbent? Injury prone KL Rahul. You would have very easily gotten a chance.
And not just that, even after that, when Rahul Dravid was asked in the press conference about Ishan Kishan, he said that he needs to communicate and he needs to tell that if he is fit or not. He did not do that. In fact, at that time, I remember even that time, all of us agreed to this fact that what he's doing isn't the best way to deal with it.
He was preparing for the IPL.
And not just that, if he's not playing the Ranji Trophy, I get it, he needs rest, he's not playing. Then why was he playing that, which was at
Mumbai T20 tournament.
Yeah, that Mumbai T20 tournament.
He was training in Baroda.
No, he even played that tournament.
I remember.
Yeah, it's a Reliance tournament that happened with DY Patil.
Yeah, DY Patil T20 Cup. Yes, exactly.
No, but see, that is because you're just before the IPL, you needed some game time. By the way, this statement is, again, while we criticize him, his statement isn't that
It's
way
not wrong.
off.
It's not wrong.
Where he's saying that if I took a break from international cricket, I needed a break, and his break was primarily because his head must have been fried, which it was, because we were talking about the way you were dealing with him. His head is fried. Now he comes back to India saying, okay, I'm going to keep everything away and only do net practice, which he was, just to be in the rhythm, but I just want to be away from any cricket. Now you're saying no play domestic cricket. So that also is tough. I completely, kind of understand. And while we did agree with the BCCI taking that harsh call that he needs to play domestic cricket and come back, but somewhere down the line, the BCCI also needed to be a bit more sensitive towards the need of a youngster. Did anyone go and sit with him and speak to him that, see, okay, yes, you are in that position. Sorry to have put you through that position. We understand that you are not going to be in the right frame of mind because you're not playing. It's frustrating anyway to be sitting on the bench, then traveling, being away from the family. Did you do that? No. So in a sense, you abandoned him. And if he felt abandoned and he decided to go into a comfort zone, whether that comfort zone was going to Baroda and being around someone you like, in his case Hardik Pandya, who they
his
gel
family
very
also
well.
he had moved there.
Correct. So maybe he wanted to be in a good mental space, and so he went and found that mental space. Then just before the IPL needed some game time and went and played that. So again, we have to look at both sides. I don't blame him. But now, if this statement, now he said it, I hope this statement is not taken against him.
Yeah.
I hope they don't see this as defiance. And say, oh, acha, so we told you to go and play, you're not playing. Now you're saying, you know what, if I was taking break from international cricket, I couldn't have played domestic cricket. So you have this defiant attitude. Now you stick out. I hope they don't do
not, because he's also said very clearly that, listen, I do intend making myself, and I will be available for Jharkhand with the domestic season starting. He said very clearly that I want to be available across formats, not just for the state level, but even internationally. So he's made it very clear.
So till August, September, he is not making a comeback.
More than likely.
Okay, so let's get back to then our openers. We've also put Ishan Kishan. He should be there. He was earlier part of the team, and if Virat or Rohit were resting for T20, there would have been a good chance that he's there, right?
Correct.
Now how many contenders? Let's count them again. There's Abhishek Sharma, there is Shubman Gill, there is Ruturaj Gaikwad, Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, Rishabh Pant, Sai Sudarshan, Yashasvi Jaiswal. So there are 8 players that we have just mentioned who can be looked at as the 2 Indian openers. So let's get down to it. Who do you think are going to be? Do you want to eliminate 2 or 3 first?
Sanju.
Okay, why is that?
Because much as I am a fan of him, he's the easiest guy to drop. In the BCCI.
Also, can I? Yeah, okay, fine. I'll go with it. And once we'll vote out a few and then just keep it down. I'll go with that because I think for Sanju, you can even look at 3, 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to be an opener, right? So in that case, we drop Sanju out of the race. Not dropping him out of the India 11 race. I think he should be a contender. But just the opening because you can fit him there, right?
Correct.
So Sanju goes out. Should we look at Rishabh also similarly?
Yes, 100%.
Because Rishabh can also be a middle order.
I don't completely agree with it because I personally I'll just go back to 2022 again. Had Rishabh Pant not suffered that incident, he was actually opening in that New Zealand series, which happened shortly after the T20.
Yeah, but that was also like a Hail Mary. That was also like a Hail Mary. Remember, his form was coming under the scanner in white ball.
Maybe the team management decided that it's the best way to utilize Pant as a T20 batter, and that's why he batted at number 3 also.
Fair.
Because he already had two openers in Rohit and Kohli.
Fair, but then they can also give you a counterpoint and say that he's worked out fine at 3. Why do we need to change?
Yeah, that can happen now. But then, with Pant, there is no problem of him being either batting up the order or down the order, but his best utilization can come at the top of the order.
Then why doesn't he bat himself as an opener in Delhi where he's the captain?
Yeah, he bats himself 3-4.
So I don't think he sees it like that. So I think
India team is completely different. The roles are completely different.
I know that, but I'm saying in Delhi he can take that call, right? If he does think that that's the best position. I think if by that logic, then even Sanju should be an opener. If we are ready to eliminate Sanju to a middle order because he can do it, then I think Rishabh can also be that. We are only going to look at people who are best utilized as only openers. So that's not to say that Rishabh's not going to be there. Of course, he's going to be part of your 11 straight up, but he can still be a middle order bat. I think you may need that. So that's 2 eliminated. Now we're left with 6.
Yes.
Should we look at a Sai Sudarshan? Because while he is a contender, he's still
outside.
Oh, he's well outside, I think.
Yeah.
So eliminating him.
And can we, I think, also say the same about Ruturaj Gaikwad?
Yeah.
No, one by one. First, we have to zero in. We'll get to that. Are we all in agreement about
Sai Sudarshan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Okay, so because we have a majority, we eliminate a Sai Sudarshan also. So we eliminated 3. That leaves us with 5 now. Who is the next one?
Ishan Kishan.
Why do you say that?
Because he has to play domestic cricket first and foremost. The domestic season is still a while for that to start. Let him get that underway first. When he starts playing domestic cricket, then gets in contention.
Yes.
It's very crowded. And actually, I don't see him making a comeback potentially until next IPL. He needs to set the IPL on fire.
Let him finish,
Set the IPL on fire and then you're golden. Play some domestic cricket, put a few good performances, but IPL will be the benchmark for him.
Okay.
See, by the time he plays some domestic cricket, be it SMAT or Dulip Trophy or maybe Vijay Hazare Trophy, I think India would have played close to around 15-20 more T20Is. So even if it does well in those tournaments, scores runs at a brisk pace, I think we might just have 2 or 3 established openers by that time, or maybe 2 or 3 openers who would have done really, really well. So it would be very difficult for him to find a place not just in 11 but in the 15 also, because you already have a lot of middle order options.
As far as, firstly, he's not going to make a comeback before the next IPL. Even if we do not, after that things might change, because we have seen the team's combination changing post IPL. Even if you have, players who are already batting in the opening spot, he can make a replacement. But till then it's highly unlikely, because you have many players now. You even have an Abhishek Sharma, who also, you have to remember, gives you the bowling option too.
And we'll get to other contenders earlier. We're right now looking at eliminating
because wicket keeping options, we already have Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson, who's higher up above Ishan Kishan, and Ishan Kishan isn't making a comeback before next IPL. So that's
so you 3 have eliminated Ishan.
Yeah.
Okay. My counter, I would not eliminate him, and I'll give you reasons for that. One, it is just conjecture that we think he needs to play some domestic cricket to come back. I feel, because there's a lot of water has flown under the bridge since the time he was given or meted out with that treatment. So maybe next selection meeting you may look at him more compassionately and say that, okay, let's get him in the conversation because he's served his time, so as to say that. So right now it's just a conjecture that he needs to play some domestic cricket, so then he's in contention. Maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe he falls into contention straight away. Your next series is Sri Lanka. For that Sri Lanka series. You never know. That's one. Secondly, and I think that's the more important point which nobody is really looking at. Who's your next T20 captain?
Hardik Pandya.
Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya strikes a bell. If I'm the captain, I have a lot of say in the team that I pick. And there's nothing wrong with it. By the way, each captain, since time immemorial, has had a say in the player that he wants to have and not. I'm just giving an example. Let's say Rohit had not come back as captain in T20 and Hardik had continued to play. Do you think an Indian team went with that T20 team that we had seen? Okay, assuming, I'm just giving you a case. You think Ishan Kishan wouldn't have been part of this 15-member squad?
Definitely.
He would have been. So a lot of things would change now once the captain sits on a table with the, and again, no matter what you say about what selection meeting, chairman of selectors or selectors have a say, no matter what the coach has a say, it's always the Indian captain who will have the strongest say in the 11 sport. I'm not saying that that's the only way. It's never my way or the highway, but he can obviously bring in. So you should keep that in mind. I'm not saying next door Ishan Kishan is back. I'm not saying that, but I will also be not surprised if he's back, which is why I thought that he should be a strong contender, but I'm outvoted, which is fine, 3 against 1. So I will remove Ishan Kishan from the conversation now. Yes.
But sir, you mentioned the fact that if he has served this period and the management and the selectors were looking at him more compassionately now and they thought that he's served this period.
Or they may think.
Then I think if that would have been the case, then I think we would have seen him in this tour itself, because you went on to pick a Dhruv Jurel ahead of an Ishan Kishan here also. You didn't have Rishabh Pant here. Then after that,
who was
Jitesh Sharma.
Who sat when the team was picked? Was there a captain?
No.
Whole thing changes when you sit in a selection meeting, na? It's my point. Right now, this was a team without a captain,
without a coach.
It all changes once you do. I'm not saying that there's always a 360-degree turn, but there are always wheels within wheels. There are different equations at play. It can, and again, as I said, I always believe the captain should have a say, because eventually what happens, the captain is held responsible for success or for failure. He believes in something. Now I'll just go back, look at Rohit Sharma, right? He had a choice to make between Rinku and Shivam Dube. He took the call of taking a Shivam Dube. We all know that, right? That could have backfired. We all thought that Rinku deserved to go, could have backfired. But eventually now, if you look at it in hindsight, those contributions that Shivam Dube made, whether it was a game versus US, whether it was the game in the second half, in the finals, those little contributions, semi-finals also, I think, where he came in. So there are plenty of scenarios where those little contributions played a role. So Rohit Sharma had his neck on the line. If he had a disastrous World Cup and you lost, he would have had to have taken the blame. So I agree with the captain sticking out. It may be a different scenario, but as I said, that's fine. We are a democratic setup, unlike the selection meeting that will happen. So if it is 3:1, so Ishan also eliminated. So how many are we left with? 4 now?
But Nikhil, I have a question for you. Let's say Hardik Pandya will more likely be the next T20 captain. So he sits in a meeting for the selection tour of Sri Lanka. He says that, okay, I want Ishan Kishan in my team, but if BCCI take a stand and say that no, he has to play domestic cricket, then what happens?
No. I'm not saying that it is my word against yours. It's not always, you're not ever always at loggerheads. There is a reason, right? If there is BCCI that has decided to put Hardik as captain, it never comes with condition that we're making you a captain, but listen, this we'll decide. No, when somebody is picked as captain, you trust his judgment, you trust his vision. Whoever you pick, when you picked Virat Kohli as captain, you trusted his vision. And by the way, you must remember, no matter how much we talk about BCCI, I will give BCCI credit on one thing, that when it comes to selection matters, they do take a back seat. As much as they have a say in whatever they have to do, whether it's the BCCI president, secretary, whatever. Believe you me, and now having spoken to a lot of people, they do take a back seat. They do not involve themselves in selection matter. In fact, this punishment also that happened to the 2 players was a decision, as you now know, by chairman of selector.
Correct.
In Ajit Agarkar, backed by the coach in Rahul Dravid and the captain. So it's not, maybe the idea germinated from Ajit, who thought that this is a nonsense approach, right? I have picked you as a player to go for a tour, and now you're telling me you want to come back. I'm not going to tolerate this. But it's not Ajit would have decided. He would have picked up the phone, spoken to the coach, spoken to the captain that, listen guys, this is not done. What do you have to think of it? When all 3 of them are on the same page, then a decision like that is taken. So similarly, when you make Hardik Pandya the captain, his word is going to be the strongest. His word is going to be the most important. And if he thinks that no, we need to bring him back into the fold because I think he can contribute, I don't think the BCCI is going to be my way or the highway. Not at all. You are there to facilitate the captain. You're not there. That's how, at least, how Indian cricket has worked for the longest time. I don't see. It may also be a scenario where the BCCI says that we get your point, but you know what? We want to set a precedent. We want a rule to follow. So let him play a few domestic games, and when we get to which maybe even the captain will say, okay, sure, let him play. He'll play this season, and then could happen. I'm saying that, but I'm just saying there are multiple scenarios possible. Going back to it, 3 of you have picked him to be out, so he's out of the conversation. So Sanju, Rishabh, Ishan, we've eliminated. And Sai 4 we've eliminated. So now that leaves us with these 4?
Yeah, on the screen.
On the screen. Wow, what a vision. You had these 4. In which it's nicely made also, this graphic, because the 2 in the center are the hot favorites.
Yeah.
So let's go. Who is your first choice pick? Everyone picked the first choice. Let's see if we all 4 can agree. So we'll put that one name down. Maybe we have a debate for the second one. Your first choice pick, the first name on the team sheet for your opener.
Jaiswal.
You're going with Jaiswal.
Jaiswal. Who's your pick?
It's an interesting one, because I'll tell you, I also want Jaiswal, because you remember we were all wanting Jaiswal to play even in the T20 World Cup. He didn't get a chance. Sorry, I hope it's not from Jais. Anji.
No, I think Jaiswal is one person.
बस 5 मिनट में यार
One person I think I'm not surprised there's that much agreement on.
And I think he's going to be the one whom you would be, taking ahead also, because he was also the first choice. We were expecting him to start in the 11. Not if it wasn't Virat who would have, you would have come up the order. It would have been Jaiswal.
I'll tell you one thing. I know that. Okay, let me cut the debate short, right? Because important phone had come. So assuming that all of you are going to pick Jaiswal and Shubman, because Shubman is probably your vice captain now. He's going to be your see, while there are many contenders for captaincy like Sky, Bumrah, many are saying, but I think now that you've decided Hardik will be your next captain, which pretty much because you made him a vice captain for a reason, right? And he was the captain before, so the next captain or the vice captain you always make will have to be from a different gen. The same seniority vice captain.
Rishabh Pant?
Could be, but he's also a different gen, is what I'm saying. Slightly younger, right? So
it's like not much difference.
25, 23.
20, just
next gen to Hardik. Hardik's touching 30, and so you need a gap, because same point, no point grooming a captain. Your captain has to be a 5-6 year younger captain, because then he becomes a different generation. So once this guy moves, then the next one comes in. So whether it's a Rishabh, whether it's a Shubman, you're getting what I'm saying, right? So Shubman is that. See, okay, first let me agree on that one opener, which I was going to pick is Jaiswal. He'll be my first choice. He's not one. Now, do we want to eliminate one in Ruturaj Gaikwad?
Yes,
unfortunately, because one, he's not shown up that kind of form. Also, what he's shown you that he can be a middle order. Now he's playing as a captain for Chennai there. So while he may not get a chance to start, but can be a backup, right? So that's eliminated. Now we're left with 3. That's Abhishek, Shubman and Yashasvi. My only point here is now Yashasvi we all agreed on. He has to be there. He was your backup opener. He's ahead of a Shubman. My point is that with what Abhishek Sharma has done, and it's not just a 1 of 100. It is the intent with which he plays. And also you're trying to change how you play T20 cricket. You're not looking at a one-day format. You're looking at T20 and the whole reason you wanted Rohit and Virat to play one way, and this is not their game, and play one way is because you've realized T20 cricket has moved forward. Now if it was one-day cricket, it was a different debate. In a T20 game, what Abhishek is showing you with his intent, as he showed you with the IPL, as he's showing you now, it'll be a travesty if he's sitting out.
And see, that's the thing. I mean, I know, and my thing here comes with having watched Gill very closely for years. Again, part of my franchise, that's why he had his breakthrough, KKR. And whilst he is always a good run getter, he's become more explosive over the years, but that's more in relative to himself. If you're telling me to pick an opener between Gill and Abhishek, I'm going Abhishek any time of the week. Any day of the week.
But I personally see Abhishek as a number 3 moving ahead, and I'll tell you the reason why.
No, come on, yeah, the guy is.
I'll tell you why.
so good.
No, no,
in
Number 3 is Rishabh Pant now.
I'll tell you. No, he can be even at number 4. I'll tell you why, because we see one accumulator in 1, 2, 3, right?
No accumulator.
Accumulator in the sense.
Accumulation. The number 1 accumulator in the history of T20 cricket, the best there ever was Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
And even he had to change his game.
Yeah.
So please get out of that. No accumulators.
But I feel Abhishek Sharma can give the same impact at number 3 also, and that's the only place where he'll be, where he can actually cement his place. It's not going to be at the opening
number 3
slot.
will be Rishabh Pant, I think now.
Yeah,
he played number 3 with Virat and Rohit around. Did you change it?
Yeah, I think Abhishek unfortunately will
Then he
edge
would be.
Gill for the time being.
You think like that?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
2 points, short and crisp. If I am the Indian team captain and the selector,
You are Hardik Pandya.
Yeah, okay. And if I am looking to have a future skipper in Gill, then I'm going to persist with Gill for at least for the next 1 year or
But
so.
all I'm saying is that forget about future skippers, because right now you can't pick a 11. I'll tell you, because sometimes you groom somebody as a future skipper and he never ends up becoming. So no, a lot of them. Yuvraj Singh, Gautam Gambhir,
Shikhar Dhawan.
Yeah, so forget that.
Okay.
You don't make an 11 based on you pick on merit or future, but future as a batter and not so much.
So see, okay, my choice then there is Abhishek Sharma. And I'll tell you why. Because of his batting obviously, and the way you also said that the T20 cricket is moving forward, he provides you that extra bowling option also.
Yeah, the
So
bits and pieces.
it's the nod ahead of Gill.
I'd still go with Shubman Gill, and as far as this series is also concerned, I think it's going to be Gill only. He's not going to sacrifice.
This series obviously is the captain.
No, I'm saying future.
Future also, I'm going to go with Gill only.
Full-fledged Indian T20 team playing.
I'd go with
your captain, Rishabh Pant at 3, that sort of team.
Yeah.
So Bumrah is back. Everyone is back.
I'll go with Gill only because firstly right-left combination. Then Abhishek unfortunately would be my backup opener.
Opener.
Yeah.
See, even though I made a case for Abhishek, practically I also know that it's going to be Shubman and Yashasvi for a few reasons. One, I think, by the way, this one impression that people have about Shubman, that he's not T20 material, more ODI. I think that's really wrong, because if you really look at his numbers, see the previous IPL where he finished as the highest run getter, check the overall thing, but if I remember correctly, he was striking it at 160 or
Yeah.
So he was the highest run getter in IPL at a strike rate of 160. That's phenomenal. And just because he looks conventional in his batting style does not necessarily mean that he cannot bat in top gear.
Yeah.
He can while looking conventional, and he has that ability. Even though with the way Abhishek is batting, and I already made that case, it's going to be really tough to keep somebody. Very tempting to play him. But I think the more practical approach has to be, because remember, he's your backup. Also, what do you tell the highest run getter in the IPL 2 seasons ago, who unfortunately missed out in this World Cup because of, you're trying to fit everyone in. To now that even with youngsters he doesn't make it, and I don't think he's performed that badly right now that he needs to be eliminated completely. That aside, that he'll be a future captain, even if I don't take that into consideration, I think it's going to be very tough to be dropping a Shubman Gill at the moment. So I'll go with Shashwat in that case, and I have to be practical. I mean, I can't be impulsive in making my team, as much as it's a tempting option to go with an Abhishek. So I go with a Yashasvi Shubman. It's a more practical, pragmatic approach. Looking at the future of Indian cricket, you go with it, and this team continues to play with Abhishek always knocking on the heels of all these two openers. And also I think that will help push the two openers to bat in a certain way. A Shubman and a Yashasvi to bat aggressively, knowing fully well that there is an Abhishek sitting there. So I would still go with these two as my opener. So we are at a dead heat.
Yes, this is a dead heat.
So Yashasvi has won. By the way, I don't want, who knows, they could be, see, cricket is a funny thing. It could be
Abhishek
after 3 series, Gill and Abhishek. I'm saying cricket is a funny game.
Together since they were 14.
Yeah.
Punjab
funny
team
game.
mates.
It's a funny game.
Since 14 they've played
2 bad
together.
series. See, we started our discussion today by saying 1 bad game and Twitter had a flip. Imagine 2 bad series. What is that?
We're also not even counting in what it is that the next head coach may want.
Exactly.
We
you
don't
might
know.
just see Shreyas Iyer coming in this side.
You are the biggest shares here.
No, I see him as
He's
a future
him as a
captain.
future captain. Well, although to be fair, now he's an IPL winning captain. Might not be a
Yeah,
bad
and I have seen him as a future captain even before he won the IPL.
True. That I'll agree with.
So that's decided.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could have continued for longer, but I have somewhere to go. Unless you guys want to continue.
No, I think they can ask our family members. Now.
Okay, sorry we could not take your questions today. 'Cause we have more pressing issues at hand, but we'll keep it for tomorrow. What you guys can do though is put your comments, your opinions in the comment section, and maybe what we can do is tomorrow we start the dugout with taking a few
And they can even
comments.
send them on Twitter. They can use
You can
the
put it on
hashtag,
that, but even on the video,
Yeah, yeah.
below the video, just put in your comments about what you think and your logic behind it. And tomorrow's dugout, we could start with taking a few comments and then get into it. How's that for a night?
Works.
On that note, thank you. Take care. Another episode of the dugout comes to an end. We've had a great time covering the World Cup and we've enjoyed your company, and we look forward to having you guys join us continuously as we look at this young Indian team in Zimbabwe. Plenty more things coming up. You will see videos on Euro as we reach the business end, and ditto for Copa. And of course, the Olympics are coming up, so we can expect a few more videos. So we gotta look
Busy
forward to
sporting,
other
yeah.
things. So sport is always alive and kicking on Sports Today, and so for that we require you to be with us in this journey by subscribing to the channel, pressing the bell icon so you know every time we come up with a video. And that's that from Shashwat, Shane, Siddharth, G and I. Bye bye, take care, good night. Vanakkam.
Nandri, Shubhratri, Shabak hai, eat your vegetables and
Don't trouble your mother.
Bye.
And there's one more line added to it now, that don't eat junk food.
No, that you cannot.
Wonder who
That's
inspired that?
That is like
Siddharth
That's time-
Vishwanathan, he gave me a chance to say that.
no. We all eat junk food sometime. only.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how can we promote something?
That we don't live.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but not all the time. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Cheat meals.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.